Welcome to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. Great advice and talk with small business owners, workaholics, whiz bang entrepreneurs, and interesting guests. Here's your host, Paul Finkelstein.
Hi, everybody. That was simple. You just heard Tony Raimondo. I met him on the platform on Alignable. And I also met this other small business owner, whiz bang entrepreneur, workaholic professional, whatever you want to call it, Kerilie McDowall.
That's
a
me.
Canadian online guitar lessons and creative service person. Obviously from Canada. I guess you know more about hockey pucks than I do, I think.
Oh, yeah. We love our hockey up here.
On that note, let's see. Let me give you a little bit of intro that she was gracious enough to give me. It's wonderful to chat today with Kerilie. I love the way you spelled out Kerilie, spelled a little differently than what says below. I think my dental hygienist name is Kerilie. So if she hears this, I guess it could be a popular name. I discovered her on Alignable and learning more about you, Kerilie, and your business, Canadian Online Guitar Lessons and Creative. Maybe you'll be able to grab a guitar and strum a couple of notes for us so that they believe you. I discovered that you're somewhat of a Renaissance woman. You'll tell us all about that, and creative category from the U.S. Radio Award and a past Jazz Composing Grant Award. You're also a music writer and a past critic to Downbeat magazine. So let us welcome Kerilie McDowall. How are you this evening or this afternoon, depending? I think you're British Columbia or Pacific time. I'm Eastern time, so at least you're 3 hours behind me, so not too bad. How are you?
Thanks for the welcome, Paul. We're here in Pacific Standard Time, so it's dark out. We had a snowstorm, a brief snowstorm yesterday, but the rain came and washed it all away. We're in a rainforest here, so the weather actually in this part of Canada is actually very nice. It's usually pretty warm and mild. So it's very nice to be here. Thanks so much for welcoming me. Yeah, Paul, I can't hear you.
You've been participating in what I call the Super Bowl of small business, or the small biz New Year's Eve kind of a thing. Alignable's Small Award. Tell us.
Yeah, so your questions are cutting out there, Paul. I'm not sure why, but I think you're asking me about Alignable and how about the recent contest. And there was an Alignable contest, 8 million users. You know, it's a pretty large platform. And as a newbie, I finally decided to dig in and get involved with Alignable and become a premium member once Chuck had me in as with a vote, and somehow with only 60 votes I managed to climb to 94, and that was just asking people to vote for me and really interacting with a lot of wonderful Americans who I love, and it's just been a blast. I made it to 39 on the list out of 50, which is pretty good considering it's there's a lot of people competing, and I was pretty excited about that. Paul, is pretty fantastic,
Yeah, made it to top 50 in North America.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like when you consider that it's North America, it's very exciting. I haven't seen the list yet where I made it as far as Canada goes, but I'm probably number 2 or number 3. I'm just guessing. I don't really know yet, but it's certainly an honor, and I feel very grateful to have achieved that. Yeah, it's fantastic. And speaking of wins, I had a recent win also this past recent time with a Creative Innovator Award that I was given here in my city of Nanaimo, and that was for film work. But Yeah, I'm really excited about Alignable and meeting other people and networking. It's been a blast. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I saw that win in one of the questions, but I'll keep going with the internet here. Tell us a bit about your history in music and writing, how you got your creative start.
Yeah, so I actually really loved music as a really young child, like 3 years old, 4 years old. And I started listening to music. I guess my dad was playing like Nancy Wilson and Dave Brubeck albums for me at that age, and I just fell in love with music. And at the first time I could get my hands on a piano, I was just fascinated and they couldn't pull me away. And I managed to get a hold of a toy piano eventually and just would mess around with that. But at our school, when I was 5 years old, like in grade one, they brought in ukuleles and they had a whole ukulele orchestra. So we were doing ukulele orchestra, and that was my first experience playing in a group with other people. And that led to violin lessons later, maybe when I was about 8 or 9, and then piano lessons. And then I had this piano teacher that was forcing me to learn nursery rhymes. And I thought that was really uncool because, I was a young teenager and I just didn't like that. So I actually was also thinking that violin wasn't so cool. I was going through that rebellious stage, and I managed to find a guitar. I was at a monastery. Our family used to go on the weekends to a local Anglican monastery, sort of like a holiday. And it was really, really quite lovely. The monks were lovely people. And basically, they were all in a vow of silence that day. And you were supposed to stay quiet. You weren't supposed to make a peep. But someone in the common room enticed me to play the guitar, and just said, "Hey, why don't you try it?" And so I tried it, and I started playing some stuff by ear, and that was it. The monks got really upset, told me to stop playing, that I'd broken their vow of silence. I was so upset. I didn't want to upset them because I really liked them. So I went outside with the guitar, and I really bonded in the forest. It was a beautiful forest area. Really bonded with the guitar, and that was it. Like I've never really given it up. I've had some periods of hiatus, but I always return to it. Yeah, so Paul, I can't see you here. We're having a bit of a connection problem, it looks like. There you are. Hi, Paul.
Ooh, we might have her back.
Yeah, we're back. It looked like we timed out. It may be because I'm up here in the north of Canada, but partly, well, west of Canada anyway.
I
Not the north, but
thought I
western Canada, and I'm
was
pretty
in
far
the
out there, out west.
internet
So
all
looks like
by my.
I didn't mean to leave you there, but it looks like it's kind of blanking out here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, what was your
So
question?
close. Yeah, sometimes it looks like I'm talking to myself on my Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube on the other end or somewhere in the middle. Oh dear.
Yeah, it could be your Wi-Fi. When we were doing TV
I
work
didn't even
here
get to the
in
first
Canada.
question.
Oh no. There you are. Hello, you're back.
All right, I'm back again.
Yeah, when we were doing television, we always used to use landlines
All right.
because the
I didn't put on
Wi-Fi.
my outro and intro slides.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm back. Here we are.
So I guess you're having a new experience when StreamYard goes wrong or right, etc. I probably missed a couple of things. I minimized everything on my screen, and maybe we can get through a couple of questions. Um,
Okay.
why don't we dive into, is it true that your primary public school forced you to go to school on the weekends and Saturdays as a gifted 8-year-old creative? What's that all about, and why were they making you learn, and how did that happen?
Yeah, that was really bizarre. Like, I was showing music talent and different types of talents at that age. And basically, what they did was they forced me to go for a bunch of IQ tests for about a couple weeks. I don't know. They just kept throwing me in these rooms with all these tests. And they never told me, they wouldn't tell me what my IQ was. But anyway, they did that to me. And I never found out either. I didn't want to know. I still don't want to know. And they put me in these rooms to learn, to do all these tests. And then the next thing I knew, they were saying, well, they wanted to skip me a couple of grades or whatever. And my mom said, no, she's too young for that. She's already, younger than everyone in her class. That's not a good idea. So they said, well, we'd like her to go to school on Saturdays then, and we want to do enrichment classes with her. And so they taught me music and writing. They had me writing books and illustrating them at age 8. And they had me learning all the clefs of music, like alto, soprano, bass, tenor. Um, on the recorder, they were kind of training me on the recorder because it was an easy instrument to play. And I didn't want to be there. I actually was begging my mom to leave, so I managed to get out of it. but I guess it was good for me because it really did set the path and a bit of brainwashing, so to speak, for me becoming a musician and also a writer. Like I actually do both, right? So it's interesting that both of them have stuck with me for so long.
Hmm. So, like you started to touch in there, you said to me, as a teenager, you told me that you had devised a kids version of a self-made recording
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
studio
Yeah.
in the
Hey there, I missed the last part of the question, but I kind of know the question. Yeah, I was messing around with tape recorders back then in the 80s and 70s. Of course, we had tape recorders, and well, before that was the 8-track. But I was using cassettes. So what I had several cassette players, and what I did was I created my own kids version of a recording studio. So what I wanted to do was create tracks and dub tracks and lay tracks over each other. So what I did was I would play the rhythm part, the chords, into the first tape recorder. And then I had this shiny, like really good Sony red Walkman kind of dual cassette player, right? And so I would play my chords into the lousy tape recorder first, and then on my fancy one, I would play the solo with the chords playing back, right? So I would get a track. So when I played it back, once I was done, you could hear several tracks. You'd hear the chords plus me soloing on top of it and anything else that I put on there. So it was like a kind of like a really poor quality, low quality type of recording studio experiment, that I was messing around with at that age, just to compose music. Like what I was doing was I was writing music, right? And toying with ideas and kind of improvising a lot. So it was my way of going through the composition process. And it's very common for musicians to use multi-trackers when they're creating. So, and I didn't know that. I just started doing it. And then eventually my mom went out and bought me a Fostex, portable multi-tracker.
So you are really into playing and teaching guitar and especially improvisation. What do you love most about playing music, specifically jazz?
I just love jazz. I love you Americans for creating jazz. The African Americans that created jazz were geniuses. It's one of the most brilliant forms of art I think that I've ever come across. When I was in university, I kind of broke away from the classical training and I got really fascinated with jazz, even though I'd been exposed to it as a very young child. I never really played it. Like as a young teen, I ended up playing like professionally in rock bands and stuff, but I wasn't really playing jazz back then. But in my first year of university and second year of university, I really got exposed to like sort of the method of playing jazz. And it just fascinated me. And that was it. I was hooked. And so I started teaching myself, stuff and listening to really great artists like Jim Hall and Ed Bickard and Kenny Bro and John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Wes Montgomery, all the heavies, and Emily Remler was a very wonderful jazz guitarist that I looked up to. And there were definitely other female guitarists. There weren't that many female guitarists back then when I was playing. There were hardly any of us, to be honest. Like there was like maybe Nancy Wilson, Joni Mitchell, Emily Remler, and Leona Boyd, but there wasn't that very many others. And now we've got Taylor Swift, and she's just created a generation of new female guitarists. It's really exciting what she's done. And so I'm really happy that Taylor Swift has come along to create that, because I was always upset that more women weren't getting involved with guitar because I thought they would really enjoy it, and it's nice to see them participating now a lot more and playing. Like I'm hearing these phenomenal jazz guitarists one's from Italy. Like I'm just seeing incredible stuff on Facebook, incredible stuff. Yeah. So I just love jazz, and I love the process of improvisation is just brings you right in, it's transcendental.
To Canada tonight.
Yeah. We're in Canada tonight. So I missed that part of your question, Paul. Maybe you could repeat it. Yeah, Paul, you're there. I would guess that you're asking me another question. Are you? I'm sorry that we're cutting out there like that. I guess it's the StreamYard Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
I may have to do.
There you are. Listen, I gotta tell you,
Ken,
you gotta get a landline. I'm telling you, Wi-Fi is really not a good idea for these types of things, like for streaming. Oh, it's just a nightmare. But listen, I know what's happening. I did a lot of live TV myself, so I know what's going on here. So I'm ready for the next question.
Okay, sure. We'll keep going. We'll try. I was going to suggest maybe just skip the live for now. I'll take it down because it might be painful to watch, and I could just you just use it as a one-on-one experience. I think I'll do that so that maybe if I